Hey guys, Toyhouze here to cover all the new spells for hunters, rogues, and priests coming in the Burning Crusade. Now, if you're not a hunter, rogue, or priest, you might want to stick around just so you know what's going on when you're going up against them. Or if you're on the fence and you might want to reroll one, this might help you make your decision. So, thank you so much for watching. I think you're really going to enjoy this, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. It really helps out a lot. And now, we'll begin by covering every single one of the new spells or abilities introduced in the Burning Crusade for hunters, rogues, and priests, starting right now. Hunter, one of my other favorite classes that I've played for quite a bit of time. We're going to start with the Beast Mastery talent at the end of the tree, which is the Beast Within. Very strong talent. When your pet is under the effects of Bestial Wrath, you also go into a rage, causing 10% additional damage and reducing mana costs of all spells by 20% for 18 seconds. While enraged, you do not feel pity or remorse or fear, and you cannot be stopped unless killed. Very, very strong because, you know, it doesn't say this. Really? I mean, it does. It says you do not feel pity or remorse or fear, blah, blah, blah. But basically, you can't be feared. You're like, movement slowing abilities don't work on you. You can't be hamstrung. You can't be wing clipped. You're like invincible to any type of snare, fear. Like, I don't even know if you could be horrified, honestly. Like, you just, it's insane. You do 10% additional damage and reduces all mana cost by 20%. Like, Beast Mastery, and I'm sure you've seen this around the net, but it's just the best talent for, like, everything. It's the best for PvP, for PvE, for fucking everything. It's the best for everything. Like, level, of course, level Beast Mastery. It's just so good in Burning Crusade. The Beast Within is actually, I mean, it's really great PvP talent, but look, it reduces the mana cost of all spells by 20% and 10% additional damage. Who doesn't want that? I mean, it's 18 seconds, but it's sick. It's ridiculous. I can't stress how awesome that talent is. It's really, really, really good for hunters, especially, there is no dead zone in TBC after a certain patch, but I mean, even with this, like, it really is your ability to get away. You can slow people and then Beast Within, and now you can't be slowed. It's really fantastic. All right, moving on to marksmanship, we have Silencing Shot, a shot that deals 50% weapon damage and silences the target for 3 seconds. Now, you'd think that this is, without a doubt, a PvP talent, and it is, but quite frankly, I think the Beast Within is better. Silencing Shot is nice. You know, you can silence targets, whether that's, you know, healers or DPS or whatever. Mainly, I would say a PvP talent, like I was just saying. But yeah, I mean, it's not that amazing. It's a 3-second silence. Readiness. When activated, and this is a survival talent, this ability immediately finishes the cooldown on your other hunter abilities. Now, you'd have to go all the way through the survival tree to get Readiness, and it's pretty good. I mean, it finishes the cooldown on your other hunter abilities. There's not a lot of constraints in that statement, so that could be everything from Feign Death to Deterrence to Freezing Trap to whatever. It could also be used to burst. You know, you could do multi-shot, arcane shot, steady shot, friggin' Readiness, pop them all again, you know. Speaking of which, I just revealed a new ability, which is Steady Shot. A steady shot that causes base weapon damage plus a certain amount causes an additional 175 against dazed targets. Now, Steady Shot is part of the one button macro, of course. I'm sure you've seen it a million times over the internet. It's basically like Steady Shot kill command rotation. Yeah, Steady Shot's really good. It's pretty damn good, especially in PvE. You're gonna be spamming that a lot. Next up, speaking of PvE, we have Misdirection, which causes the threat caused by your next attack to be redirected to the target raid member. Caster and target can only be affected by one Misdirection spell at a time. Effects last 30 seconds. So if your tanks need a little bit of extra help pulling, hunters can be the pulling person, you know, get Cheetah on, you know, get that, just go run, shoot an arcane, whatever, and misdirect the tank. Or, less often, you could help the tank generate some threat during battle, so maybe you could misdirect aim shot or something try to help the tank get a little bit more threat. But Misdirection is definitely a nice PvE ability. Next up, we have Snake Trap. This is a new trap that is introduced in the Burning Crusade that will release several venomous snakes to attack the first enemy to approach. The snakes will die after 15 seconds, and the trap will exist for 1 minute. Only one trap can be active at a time. Now, the Snake Trap is good for a number of reasons. These little fucking snakes are going to poke you and bite you and can push back casting timers, but also it can afflict everyone with poisons. And so if you are doing some type of drain, like Viper Sting, then this is going to hurt their ability to dispel that Viper Sting. So Snake Trap has a number of uses. It's not that bad. I think it's underutilized. But in PvP, it does have its place. Kill command. Give the command to kill, causing your pet to instantly attack for an additional 127 damage. Can only be used after the hunter lands a critical strike on the target. This is a part of what I was talking about. Kill command and steady shot. Of course, your pet, you need to be landing a critical strike in order to use kill command, but it's very strong. You'll be using it a lot, as much as you possibly can. It's very strong. Okay, aspect of the Viper. This is a fun one. It's a new aspect. The hunter takes on the aspects of a Viper, regenerating mana equals up to 55% of his or her, they, them, just kidding, intellect, plus 35% of his, her level every 5 seconds. Sorry if that's distracting. The lower the hunter's current mana, the more mana will be regenerated. Now, that basically means aspect of the Viper is meant to be not necessarily something you use at full mana. It's kind of something where it's like, oh schnitzel, like I'm starting to run low on mana. Let's pop aspect of the Viper, get my mana back up. So yes. So again, it's 55% of your intellect plus 35% of your level every 5 seconds. Lower your current mana, the more mana will be regenerated. All right, cool. I think that was a better summary. All right, so we're done with Hunter, and we're going to move on to the Rogue. Now, the Rogue has a number of new abilities, starting with Shiv. Performs an instant offhand weapon attack that automatically applies the poison from your offhand weapon to the target. Slower weapons require more energy. Rewards 1 combo point. Now, usually you are having a fast offhand and a slow main hand because your abilities typically are using your main hand, but Shiv is the exception because it's actually using your offhand, which is why slower weapons will require more energy. This has a number of uses. You could use it to quickly apply a deadly poison, and I will tell you why that's important shortly, or a wound poison for PvE, or even crippling in order to quickly slow someone down. So there's a number of applications here for Shiv. A new assassination talent tree spell is Mutilate. Instantly attacks with both weapons for an additional 44 with each weapon. Damage is increased by 50% against poisoned targets. So there's one reason why Shiv might be nice. Must be behind the target. Awards 2 combo points. All right, now here's the combo, or the combat talent. Surprise attacks. So surprise attacks, I feel like, is underrepresented. I feel like I didn't even know this existed, totally honest with you. So surprise attacks makes it so that your finishing moves can no longer be dodged, and the damage dealt by your Sinister Strike, Backstab, Shiv, and Gouge abilities is increased by 10%. Now, I think the reason this talent gets no time in the spotlight is because it kind of sucks. Like, so what? Your finishing moves can no longer be dodged. I mean, I don't even think that happens that frequently. So, I mean, compared to Mutilate and the next one I'm going to talk about, it's not that great. Next one that I'm going to talk about, by the way, is Shadow Step. Now, Shadow Step is when you attempt to step through the shadows and reappear behind your enemy, and it increases your movement speed by 70% for 3 seconds. Talk about a gap closer, man. The damage of your next ability is increased by 20%, and the threat caused is reduced by 50%. So this is basically a ridiculous gap closer that not only teleports you to the enemy behind them, it also is going to increase your movement speed by 70% for 3 seconds, just in case the gap closer somehow didn't work. That's like as if a warrior's charge also increased their movement speed by 70% for 30 seconds. Like, where's that at for warriors? Shadow Step is ridiculously good. Crazy good. That's why rogues are, well, one of the many reasons why rogues are super good in PvP. Anyways, that's the end of the subtlety tree if you want to get that talent ability. All right, next up is Envenom. This is an extra spicy ability. Now, if you remember back, there used to be an Envenom build that was extremely strong, especially against plate wearers, because it does nature damage, which of course goes through armor. Envenom is a finishing move that consumes your deadly poison, doses on the target, and deals instant poison damage. 1 dose is consumed per combo point. Another reason why Shiv might be a good. You want to get that poison stacked up. Envenom, it's super strong. I don't have much to say. People made builds around it. It's very good. It's super good. All right, moving on to Deadly Throw. A finishing move that reduces the movement of the target by 50% for 6 seconds and causes increased thrown weapon damage based on how many combo points. So Deadly Throw is used for sure in PvE to interrupt during Black Temple, during certain boss fights. It's especially good in PvP if you are too far away to interrupt, or you can't be bothered to run over to your enemy to kick. Deadly Throw is going to help interrupt your opponents. All right, moving on to Cloak of Shadows. Instantly removes all existing harmful spell effects, and increases your chance to resist all spells by 90% for 5 seconds. Does not remove effects that prevent you from using Cloak of Shadows. So things like stun, perhaps fear, things like that. Cloak of Shadows is probably one of the abilities that people cried about the most in the Burning Crusade. One of them. I mean, Cloak of Shadows was so good that I don't even know. Like caster, like you just drink caster's tears. You get a jug of caster's tears and just drink them as a rogue. I mean, Cloak of Shadows is so good. I mean, think about it though. I mean, increases your chance to resist all spells by 90% for 5 seconds. You're immune to everything that they do for 5 seconds, essentially. I mean, it's amazing. And it instantly removes all existing harmful spell effects. I mean, come on. It's a fantastic ability. Rogues got an incredible set of new abilities. And with that said, let's move on to the Priest. Now, the Priest, like the Rogue, got some incredible abilities. We've got Pain Suppression, instantly reducing a friendly target's threat by 5%. Not as interesting as it also reduces all damage taken by 40% and increases resistance to dispel mechanics by 65 for 8 seconds. So you could just say deuces to your enemies because you're just going to be unkillable, and enemy priests are going to have a hard time dispelling pain suppression because of its increased resistance to dispel mechanics. Could be a nice combo with a Resto Druid. Pain suppression is amazing. It's very, very strong in PvP and in PvE. I mean, in PvE, you're probably not going to want to use it on a tank, but you could because it reduces their threat by 5%, but it's amazing in PvP. That's all I know. Okay, Circle of Healing. So Pain Suppression was the Discipline talent at the end of the tree. Now we're going to move over to Circle of Healing. Circle of Healing is at the end of the Holy Tree. This heals a friendly target, and that targets party members within 15 yards of the target for 246 to 270. It's a nice AoE healing ability. Priests definitely needed something like this. They had some stuff, but this is definitely going to help with that AoE healing. Moving on to Shadow, we have Vampiric Touch. Causes 450 shadow damage over 15 seconds. And yes, you guessed it, it's at the end of the Shadow Tree. And it also causes all party members to gain mana equal to 5% of any shadow damage you deal. So that includes Devouring Plague. That includes, Curse of Agony. Sorry, Shadow Word Pain. And Shadow Flay, Mind Flay, Mind Mindfuck. No, I'm just kidding. What is it called? Mind Blast. Okay, there we go. All of that. All party members are going to gain mana equal to 5% of the shadow damage you deal. And if you haven't heard, this talent is really what makes Shadow Priests really shine in the Burning Crusade. Many people call Shadow Priests mana batteries, essentially, in the Burning Crusade because of Vampiric Touch. So it's really what makes them fantastic in PvE, to really give their party members that that mana. All right, guys. Now, this is one of my all-time favorite abilities coming up next for Priest. It is Mass Dispel. This ability is so good, it makes me want to reroll Priest. Mass Dispel dispels magic in a 15-yard radius, removing 1 harmful spell from each friendly target and 1 beneficial spell from each enemy target. Affects a maximum of 10 friendly targets and 10 enemy targets. This dispel is potent enough to remove magic effects that are normally undispellable. That means Divine Protection Paladins. Woo woo! Alright, so the Bubble Hearth finally has an answer. It is not unbeatable by anything and everything. Mass Dispel will get rid of Divine Protection. It's freaking awesome. It's really what makes Priests crazy good in PvP. Once again, another reason you can just totally go for Paladins and not be worried about them bubbling. So Mass Dispel. Be careful with Mass Dispel. Notice it does remove harmful spells from friendly targets. So if you're playing 5v5 in the arena or on the battlegrounds and you've got like 10 of your friendly targets all like loaded up with Unstable Affliction, you're going to definitely want to not use Mass Dispel because you are going to blow up like a nuclear bomb in a way that, I mean, you're going to die. You will be dead. Because if you dispel Unstable Affliction, it does damage to you and it silences you, and it's no fun. So, yeah, be careful with Mass Dispel with Unstable Affliction. It's like a counter to Mass Dispel, man. Okay, moving on to the next Priest ability, we have Prayer of Mending. Places a spell on the target that heals them for 800 the next time they take damage. When the heal occurs, Prayer of Mending jumps to a raid member within 20 yards, jumps up to 5 times, and lasts 30 seconds after each jump. This spell can be placed on 1 target at a time. I can like hear this noise in my head. I've heard so many Prayer of Mendings bouncing around. It's like bling, 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 just bouncing all over the place. It's super strong. Priests are going to be using it all the time in PvE and PvP. Prayer of Mending, fantastic ability. Okay, moving on to the next Priest ability, we have Shadow Fiend. Creates a shadowy fiend to attack the target. Caster receives mana when the Shadow Fiend deals damage. Lasts 15 seconds. I can't really stress how strong Shadow Fiend is for Priests. I mean, quite frankly, Shadow Fiend is Priest's mana battery in many ways. I mean, it's so good that, you know, Druids will want to Cyclone them, Hunters will want to trap them or Scattershot trap them, or really anything to stop them. Shadow Fiends are really what can bring Priests back in the game if they get to deal damage for that full 15 seconds. So Shadow Fiend, very strong. It's like an Innervate, essentially. It's an amazing ability and really helps Priests with their sustain. Okay, moving on. We've got 2 more abilities for the Priest, if you can believe that or not. We have Binding Heal, which heals a friendly target and the caster for 1042 to 1338. And it generates very low threat. Now, I think the reason it says generates low threat is probably mainly used for PvE. Binding Heal, I don't think that got much PvP use, but I could be wrong. I didn't play a Priest back in the day, but this is a new ability that was added in the Burning Crusade. Now, one ability I know that was used a ton in PvP was Shadow Word Death. A word of dark binding that inflicts 450 to 522 shadow damage to the target. If the target is not killed by Shadow Word Death, the caster takes damage equal to the damage inflicted upon the target. Now, if you remember, like I remember, Priests were usually very offensive in the arenas. They'd be using lots of different abilities, smite spamming, holy fire, and then of course they're going to try to finish you with Shadow Word Death if you're low. So this is another really amazing way that Priests are super flexible in the arenas and have the potential to really help you get Gladiator or get Gladiator yourself if you're playing a Priest. You know, you have offensive dispels, you have this and that, and pain suppression, and Mass Dispel, and now you have this Shadow Word Death, a finisher to help your DPS. I mean, priests really have everything in their kit to do great in PvP and frankly in PvE as well. So basically play priest. And that's it for this guide today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like if you liked it, subscribe if you want more, and leave a comment down below letting me know what you thought. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.